Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Hi, I'm Yhwhnewbn, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Because my little brother, in which we're doing this documentary for, Douglas Robinson, your death will not be in vain.
He was a heck of a great dude.
And I love Doug. Doug loved me.
Just being around him, he had a good spirit. He was a healing person.
They are there.
Get SROs back.
When you give to the poor,
should not be forced out of their neighborhoods when it goes through a period of transformation.
Because there are too many people who are losing their homes to taxes because they can't pay a $1,000 tax bill.
We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network called 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you. Yes, we do want to talk to you, and we want you to talk to us too. I'm Naima Latif, and this is an opportunity for you to speak to our global family. As we say, give us a call, 727-731-5192. We're going to be right back in just a moment because we've got a lot to share, and we want you to be ready. Be right back. Stay with us. And we are back, and you are watching the Female Solution Global broadcast. I'm Naima Latif, and we've had quite a week here in Chicago. There are those of us who might still be feeling a little bit sad about the outcome of our latest Bears game. But I had an opportunity to reflect on some things because it also came in the wake of the Dr. King celebration. And this was the annual celebration of the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And we really had a chance to experience some things that could possibly even have given us a little more appreciation for what Dr. King's legacy brought to us. And so I'd like to reflect a bit. One of the things that we talk about every year when we celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. King is how far we've come. And this year was no different in that sense. But also there was, in many celebrations, a lot of injection of feelings of fear and despair. So I want to give you a different perspective today, especially because we really do have a lot to be grateful for in the evolution of our nation and what we were fighting for those many years ago. The simple dignity of being able to ride public transportation without humiliation, or the desire to have any type of employment open to us without restricted opportunities. The ability to go to any school one desires. The ability to create enterprises. And all of the things that had been restricted because of race and even gender, especially race and gender. So, in looking back, I could see a lot of positive things to consider. I want you to think about this, because we tend to complain a lot about what we don't have instead of recognizing the things that we do have and the unlimited power that we have to continue to achieve. So we're going to today be joined by one of our reporters who is no stranger to the female solution, Mamadee Yhwhnewbn. She is a reporter with the On Air Daily News, our media company that gives us a perspective of hope and high expectation and encouragement. We look at the news differently. Not so much all the gloom and doom, but all of the unlimited possibilities. And Mamadee reported on the Dr. King breakfast celebrations here in Chicago. And we had a chance to hear from Kamala Harris, former Vice President, and many are speculating, is she going to run again? Well, just the reality that a female who is African American and also Southeast Asian mixed was Vice President of the United States. What an achievement. If you look back 50 years ago, where we are now, and the fact that she can consider making a serious run for the presidency. That's something.
Went out again.
And that's something that we can be grateful for and recognize as a possibility and an achievement. And then we looked at our wonderful Chicago Bears, a brilliant quarterback who did his best and made some brilliant plays, some impossible throws. And we look at 50 years ago, how a Black quarterback would not even have been a consideration because of the propaganda that Black males didn't have the intelligence to mentally lead a team. And yet we saw someone really continue his steadiness under pressure. And that was achievement, a great achievement. And then after the game, we saw a Black female sports commentator, something that would not have happened 50 years ago in the sport of football. So just those things, we're looking at progress, powerful progress. We're looking at achievement, and we're looking at how we have so much in our hands, so much that we can be grateful for. So we're going to take a break and come back with our own on-air reporter, Mamadee. And as my wonderful associate has announced to the world, we're going through some challenges at my location. But as always, we're dedicated to bringing you information that inspires, because we are ascending. And we have a team of hosts that remind us of this every day. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Welcome to Master Force with Mushim Suit. Join us each week on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central, live on Facebook and YouTube on the Female Solution page, as we dive into powerful topics designed to assist you in mastering your life force. Our conversations feature a diverse lineup of experts, all dedicated to your growth. Tune in weekly to discover new ways to elevate your spirit and raise your vibration. And remember, we are ascending.
What's up, guys? It's Osada, the host of the Gathering of the Griots podcast, part of the Female Solution. Want you to join us every Tuesday morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And guess what we do? We interview authors of the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. The books, the experiences, the lifestyles, all of it with fervor. So be there right on the Soulful Chicago Book Fair YouTube page or on the Female Solution Facebook page. We look forward to having you and all our literary essence. Peace.
In which we're doing this documentary for, Douglas Robinson, your death will not be in vain.
He was a heck of a great dude.
And I love Doug. Doug love me.
Just being around him, he had a good spirit. He was a healing person.
They are there.
Get SROs back.
When you give to the poor,
should not be forced out of their neighborhoods when it goes through a period of transformation.
Because there are too many people who are losing their homes to taxes because they can't pay a $1,000 tax bill.
And we are back. You're watching the Female Solution Global broadcast. I'm Naima Latif, and on our live line, we have our own Mamadee Yhwhnewbn, reporter for the on-air daily news, and she was present at the Rainbow Push breakfast. The mayor had a special breakfast, and we had a chance to see a bit of a who's who in Chicago politics. So one of the things that we want to do is to take a look at some of the things that were said. And first of all, Mamadee, thank you so much for joining us today on the Female Solution. We appreciate you so much.
Hello. Yhwhnewbn Rising. It is such a pleasure to be back with the family.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, well, we appreciate you for always being out there, making it happen and raising awareness. We've been looking at, some of the positives in this year of celebration with Dr. King. And one of the positives is the fact that there is an African-American female who is being seriously considered for the run for the presidency. And so many people were looking forward to whatever statement she was going to make in regards to that, because we know that there's time for a change. And we're going to pull up on the screen here your photo from this event that attracted so many people, so many that we know are influential, that are very vocal, and certainly many that are running for higher offices. But first of all, tell us, as one who's been around for a while and been championing some causes to help us remember how we got here, the tragedy with Emmett Till and the launching of the civil rights struggle so that we would not have to live in fear. Tell us, what was the mood in the room as so many gathered for this celebration? Was there more of a mournfulness, oh, we're going through such hard times, or was it more of hope of, well, we've achieved a lot since the time of Dr. King's departure? What was the general mood that you sensed in the room?
Well, we're talking about two different events.
Yes.
But I think that the general mood at both of these events was one of excitement and just glad to be together. And that's what I would say. I would say it was really celebratory at both events. Now, we're going to go with the caption that you put up, Rainbow Push, a beloved community. That was their theme for their 36th annual Reverend Dr. Prophet King's breakfast. And then there was the mayor's breakfast that was on Friday. His was on Fridays, and Rainbow Pushes was on Monday. So, which
let's talk. Let's first go to
talk about line that came before both of them, because we had our 42nd annual Global Community Commemorating King Days. We had our 42nd annual, so we're a little older than the 40th anniversary for the city and the 36th anniversary for Rainbow Push.
Yes.
So, I'd just like to say this. You know, I started my freedom fighter work at the age of 5 when I refused to give up my seat on the front of the bus and went home and all hell broke loose. But so that's 75 years a freedom fighter, and I'm no ways tired.
Well, we certainly appreciate your stick-to-itiveness and not giving up. But tell us about before we get into the mayor's breakfast and the Push annual breakfast, tell us about your celebrations that you've been doing for so many years to remind people of the history, those who did not live through it.
Okay, well, we had our 42nd annual Humanitarian Day, January 15th. And what we are doing is, because other people have told our story, until we get it from the heart and mind damage survivors' point of view, that 11 years from 1954 to 1965, we won't have the story straight. And those 6-year-old children in the Brown case that were too young to express themselves with words, dolls were used to prove the case, which they said the segregation laws were unconstitutional because they only existed to keep the status of the Negro down. They didn't say black and brown or people of color down. They said the status of the Negro down, and they had called this irreparable harm to Negro children. And if they had said irreparable harm, that would have been one thing, but they used legalese language and said it's doubtful that they will ever overcome it. So 70 years is a cycle, a complete cycle of life, biblically speaking. So we had to wait for 70 years to say, no, we never overcame it. The heart and mind damage, and we need reparations for our own category. But as I was saying, Global Committee Commemorating King Days were chartered in 1984. And what we do is culturally capture and historically preserve the 3 key principles of the American civil rights renaissance of the 1960s from the survivor standpoint in a concept that visually affirms each principle, that coincides with his birth, January 15th, his death, April 4th, and his emancipation dream, March on Washington, that prompted the passage of the Civil Rights Bill of 64 and the Voting Rights Bill of 65. So we have a project going now where our theme was remembering the children, motivating today, remembering the children murdered in the movement, motivating today's children not to kill. So St. Patrick's Day is not a national holiday, but all they do is they march to their closets and they wear the color green that visually affirms St. Patrick. And so many people can't afford a $200 ticket to be at Rainbow Bushes Affair, and they don't have the VIP status to be at the mayor's interfaith purpose. But everybody can march to their closet and out of a sense of respect, not just say, I'm wearing white socks, but you wear white like Irish wear green. You wear black like Irish wear green. And so on January 15th, that is our humanitarian day, a day to show some respect for those unsung humanitarians that fought the principles of, that challenged the principles of white supremacy practices and changed America's unjust law of racial segregation, at least legally on paper. They did that. So we wear the color white and focus on human and civil rights principles. Now, when you put on white in January, somebody might ask you the question, what are you doing with all that white on? As cold as it is outside, then you can tell your history. I'm wearing this white because it's the January 15th is the actual birthday of Reverend Dr. Prophet King, and he focused on the principles of human and civil rights. And then likewise, when you're wearing the color black on April 4th, Victims of Violence Holy Day, not holy because Dr. King was assassinated that day, but holy because of the sacredness of innocent bloodshed, whoever blood it is. So we focus on the principles of nonviolence, using non-carnal weapons. You know, it was really something when you had no Army, no Navy, no Marines, no federal, state, city police, or other militia, and you were going against that military force with your soul force, and you emerged victorious because the weapons of your warfare were not carnal, but had that divine power to pull down the strongholds of evil that we have experienced as a people since we were kidnapped and captured on the boat. So you're wearing the color black, and somebody's going to ask the question, it's the springtime out here. What in the world are you doing with all that black on? And you can visually affirm the principles, and this was his actual assassination date, April 4th. And then August 28th, black and white colors. And they visually affirm moral principles of righteousness, justice, peace, peoplehood, and cultural coexistence in the spirit of way of, which means we are one. And so those are the three key principles of the American civil rights renaissance of the 1960s. It was a renaissance, a rebirth of freedom. It wasn't the first time freedom had ever come up. So now we have a children's history project in which we are asking the students to write why, in a letter, tell why there should be a children's history category. And the children murdered in the movement, the 4 little girls, age 11 to 14, Emmett, and also together with his mother on a stamp, because if it hadn't been for her, none of the other things would have been possible. if it had not been for her decision. So we want Emmett and his mother together on the stand, and then we want the 4 little girls together on the stand. And involve the children of today. They need to know that our children were freedom fighters. You know, once they were registering people to vote and everything, and sharecroppers was all excited and marching with Dr. King. But when you left town, now you got to face the consequences. The white people said, you were in that march. You got to move. You were in that march. We're going to foreclose on your loan. You were in that march. You were fired. So the adults were intimidated into silence. And that's when the little children stepped up to the plate. Wow. As young as 6 years old, they stepped up to the plate. The children, it's a grammar school. We're not talking about high school. We're not talking about college. But the children, they marched. They were beaten. They were jailed. They were fire hosed down. They were bitten by police dogs. And these 4 little girls in a church bombing on a Sunday were murdered. But the scores of children that lost eyesight and limbs blowing off, we don't even talk about that. So what we are doing during this humanitarian week kicks off on January 15th, ends on January 22nd. We are going to the various schools. You know, when I created the idea personally and wrote the ordinance for Emmett Till Road that resurrected his legacy that had been buried for 30 years, I couldn't get any letters of support because people are just, well, that boy didn't do anything, and what good is that going to do? So it was necessary for me not only to draft the ordinance, but go to each alderman. There were 7 on 71st Street. Go to each one and have them individually sign on because nobody would introduce it in city council. So when each one of them individually signed on, we couldn't get Alderman Lawrence Bloom from, even though he had a predominantly NAA area, we couldn't get him to go from Stony Island to South Lakeshore Drive. So the Emmett Till Road, after the other aldermen signed on, then Alderman Lawrence Bloom, he signed on. So Emmett Till Road went from South Lakeshore Drive to Kidsey. But after the 5 aldermen had signed on, when Alderman Bloom signed on, he amended it. So if you look at the law, you'll see his signature, but you won't see the 5 colleagues' signature on L. Till Road. So what we're doing now is, you know, everything happens for a reason, because we didn't get the L. Till Road past Kidsey. Now we can go from Kidsey to Pulaski, which is the end of the 71st Street, and have Mamie and L. Till Road. So this is what we are working on now. Now the aldermen involved in that are 17th Ward Alderman David Moore, 18th Ward Alderman Derek Curtis, and then we have Tobias, the 23rd Ward. So what we're doing this week is we're going to all the grammar schools and asking the children in these particular wards to write their letters. And then we'll go back to the Board of Education and ask all of the public school students and private schools also to write these letters. We are shooting for at least 1 million, and to have a children's history category.
Wow, that's powerful. That is powerful. Well, you're listening to Mamadee, reporter for the On Air Daily News. We've got the photo that she took at the Dr. King breakfast. We're going to also talk about the award presented to Mrs. Jacqueline Jackson at the mayor's breakfast. And we're going to talk about the legacy of many of the families who sacrificed, the Jackson family being one of them. And as you said, so many have borne the brunt of the struggle with backlash that happens when you step up to protest. We've got a couple of comments here we'll take before we take a break. And grand rising to Lawrence Lenoir, and he said, we need donations of healers. Yes, of heaters. Yes, we are going to continue to look out for the least fortunate. And our dear sister Zelda has been out with those who are in the frigid cold these days in Chicago. You know, it is hitting below zero feeling temperatures, and she is certainly championing those who are not in need. And we played the video a couple of times to remind us of that reality, that we have people struggling. And so, Mamadee, we are grateful that you are bringing awareness to this situation and reminding us of how our children stepped up to continue the fight when the adults were blocked. And this is a critical thing, because even today, as we see protests and collective voices raised against injustice, many times it is the young people, as it was in the time of Dr. King. And we continue to step forward for justice, equality, righteousness. So we're going to take our last break and come back and talk more about what some of those people who were present had to say when it comes to how far we've come, where we need to go, and our responsibility to make it happen. So we'll be right back after this last break, and we want you all to stick and stay, don't stray away. And we're going to remind you once again, we are working toward those who are in dire need of help, especially in these frigid weather. There are those who are suffering, and we want you to give. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Brother, in which we're doing this documentary for, Douglas Robinson, your death will not be in vain.
He was a heck of a great dude.
And I love Doug. Doug loved me.
Just being around him, he had a good spirit. He was a healing person.
They are there.
Get SROs back.
When you give to the poor,
should not be forced out of their neighborhoods when it goes through a period of transformation.
because there are too many people who are losing their homes to taxes because they can't pay a $1,000 tax bill.
And we are back, and you are watching the Female Solution Global Broadcast. We are joined by Mamadee, who is a reporter for the On Air Daily News and a longtime activist. And she has been giving us a history lesson when it comes to work that needs to be commemorated. She is head of the Global Committee commemorating King Days, which it reminds us of what we have achieved and how to commemorate the work being done and the sacrifices that were made by those who have brought us to this point that we are today. And as we take a look back at what some of the freedom fighters have achieved, again, I'm going to bring this photo up on the screen. We've achieved a lot. There are many who have risen to positions of authority in government. And so we can't say that we are still struggling for basic respect and have no access to power. We have achieved the highest position in the nation. So first of all, Mamadee, give us some insight on that mayor's breakfast in which Kamala Harris, keynote speaker, and everybody was wondering, well, is she going to announce that she's running for president? And should we expect that she's going to take on the challenge of the Trump administration? One of the things, of course, that happened is a great woman among us was honored. But tell us about the mayor's event.
Well, the mayor's event, it was called the 40th Annual Interfaith Breakfast, and their theme was defending our democracy, protecting our rights. And that was on January 16th. But it's important that we as NAAs, Indigenous, Negro, American, Africans, claim the country, but never forget the continent. It's important for us to at least know those three things. These days of respect, so you know when Dr. King was born, when he died, and his Emancipation March and on Washington, what that meant. So at the breakfast, all we can do is speculate about will former VP run for president. But I think we can also speculate that our own Governor J.B. has his eyes on that presidential seat and here in Illinois. And so it would be kind of risky business. I don't know if you agree or not, for her to be talking about launching anything here against the 15th richest family in the world. So she didn't talk about that. She talked a lot about being sick and tired of being sick and tired, and how people want us to be afraid today and turn on each other. And instead of throwing up our hands, we should roll up our sleeves and bear down. So she got upset to know who she ended up.
Well, that was great.
With Bear Down.
Bear Down. No, that was, yeah, of course. Bear Down, Chicago. That was cute. Yes. So now I have here up on the screen the photo you took of the mayor presenting Mrs. Doctor, I believe, Jacqueline Jackson. I know she's gotten some honorary doctorates with an award. Tell us about that.
She received the Freedom, the Champion of Freedom Award, along with one other person that received it. But she started out by saying she could not accept that award without mentioning all the people that had championed her life. And she began with her mother,
wow,
who she said was 17 years old.
Wow.
And she decided to allow her to have life when she didn't have to.
Wow.
And then she thanked the babysitters, the housekeepers, the all the people that she had coming to, but of course her husband and his broad shoulders that she stood on, and the shoulders that both of them stood on. And she went on to talk about that, don't let anybody false you but God.
Wow.
And it was just the grace that she showed as she talked about every single person that had been part of her life, and
wow,
how they had contributed to her life. And when I think of the fact that when her son was incarcerated, writing him a letter,
that was powerful.
Single solitary game.
That is powerful. Yes. And
motherhood is very powerful.
Yes, it is.
And for her to, because even the whole domestic violence, we have decreased violence here in the city, but the domestic violence, especially against NAA women, and when I say that, Indigenous, Negro, American, African, it is important for us to identify our own self and to identify with our American, the country. And it's necessary for us to, Black. Obama said he wasn't the first Black president. He was the first Kenyan American president.
He did say
he
that.
Call himself African American, and he said Black has no standing in law. So we've got to get our identity together. One that claims this country. Like it or not, we are more Americans than anybody in America, because the laws of non-human being status would not allow us to be anything else. And if anybody has it, and they're saying, well, the ICE is after the immigrants, but everybody that arrived over here are immigrants because they came from a country that had a land and a language, and they came by choice, whether it was Haiti or Jamaica or England or Europe. Only the ones that came in chains are not immigrants. And we just need to know simple things like that.
Well, I think
that's
historically correct.
Our children of the past with our children of today.
Yes. Well, we've got the photo up on the screen of the crowd that you took at the Push breakfast, and that was on Monday. Literally, and of course the article, we want you all to go to onairdailynews.com to read Mamadee's article and see her great journalistic work there. And this is, as you said, a who's who of politics there. Many that arrived, but there was one statement, and before we go, I want you to highlight that was said by Melissa Conyers-Irvin, make sure I have her name right, regarding our economics. And
that's important. We have made many gains, and I think maybe we took those gains for granted, and we have actually rolled back. And when you talk about, we used to have this, and there was no Arabs in our neighborhood with the grocery stores that we have to go to get our food. If you wanted Chinese food, you went to Chinatown. They wasn't in our neighborhood doing nails and feet, making more money than the barber whose shop they are occupying. So while we were busy some kind of way, we let people ride our backs. And Reverend Dr. Prophet King told us, a man can't ride your back unless it's bent. And so there was a study done how domestic violence has increased, and for every one white girl that was sexually assaulted, there were 14 black girls.
Oh my gosh.
Sexually assaulted.
Wow, that's a show in itself. Wow.
The points that Minister Farrakhan was trying to make at the Million Man March is to build that relationship with your family. And that's where we are today. Like the Vice President said, people are turning on each other, and that it was just time to, instead of throwing up our hands, to roll up our sleeves and bear down. And we can always talk about what would he have done, but the point is, what are you doing now?
Wow. Well, that's a great point to end, and we're about out of time. And Mamadee, as always, you have been fabulous. We appreciate you so much. Always part of the family, coming back and giving us the report of what we have done, what we are doing, and what we should do in the future. Absolutely. What are you doing now? That is the message. We thank you so much, Mamadee, reporter for On Air Daily News, out there getting that information on not only the Dr. King breakfast, but the work that needs to be done to commemorate those who have made all those gains possible that we have achieved. So I thank you so very much. And you talked about the Global Committee commemorating King Days. What is the next significant day that we need to look out for? Last thing before we go.
Well, that is Mamie and L. Till Road, the first street in America named after a mother and child. So we're looking forward to that, and looking forward to anybody that knows any grammar school children, have them write a letter telling us why these children should have a children's history category and a lasting memorial to their sacrifices.
Absolutely.
And that is what we're working on now, connecting the children of today with those of the past so that the beat can go on. Mrs. Jackson said she was part of the future. Now she's part of the past, but she is living in the present. And blessed are you that your days are long on the land that your God has given you.
Yes,
We're in the commandments. So we are a blessed group, and our numbers are expected to double by 2030. 1 in 5 will be over the age of 65. So we need more discussion on how we can love our children, love souls into shape.
Love souls into shape. I love you, Mamadee. You're so fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Female Solution Global broadcast. And we'll have to have you back before that next event to remind people of the commemoration that you have launched and that street that we need to make happen. Well, I'm Naima Latif, and come on back tomorrow. Oh, no. Tonight, we will be doing the next part of our special 6-part series on service. We're getting ready for a new currency that we control, and it's the one we've had all the time, and that's when we simply learn how to share. Service, sharing Earth's resources, voluntarily implementing creative exchange. Coming back for part 3. So join us here on the Female Solution Global broadcast, and then come on back tomorrow for Master Force with Mushim Suit, and this is a show you don't want to miss. We'll be right back, and until next time, continue to shine your light.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jaref. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.